Good evening, Tanse Yanin. Welcome to APTN National News Weekend. I'm Daryl Stranger. Last week, during the Yellowknife wildfire evacuations, hundreds, if not thousands, of people self-evacuated the capital city by car. But in a surprising move earlier this week, the Northwest Territories government said it would not foot the bill for those who chose to do so. Here's Sarah Connors with that story.
This video shows a trail of cars evacuating from Yellowknife last week. Francis Thrasher's family was one of them. The family of 7 chose to self-evacuate by car to Edmonton on Thursday.
So if we sat and we waited until it was time to go line up to get a plane ticket, we're taking up 7 seats of people that potentially need it, like elders and the disabled and other children.
According to the territorial government's evacuation order, Yellowknife residents were encouraged to leave the capital city by car. But on Monday, a government official said it wasn't planning to reimburse self-evacuees for their travel expenses.
If you self-evacuated on your own means, the expectation will be that you re-enter under your own means as well.
The news came as a shock to Thrasher, who's paid around $2,000 out of pocket.
And now we're seeing that they refuse to provide us assistance to come back home when they are the ones who told us to leave. It's their responsibility, theirs.
I'm appalled at what's happened here.
MLA Katrina Knockleby was also surprised to learn evacuees wouldn't be reimbursed. She's been encouraging evacuees to keep their receipts.
I am clearly in a position where I am upset at what has happened. I am feeling the pain of my constituents and residents across this territory.
At a press conference Tuesday, the territory's finance minister backtracked the previous day's message, emphasizing the territory is dealing with an unprecedented situation.
The programs that we have set up for natural disaster evacuations, of which we've sadly had too many in the last couple of years, they are not designed to deal with the kind of situation that we're in.
Wozniak clarified help is coming, though what that might look like isn't clear yet.
The messaging here is no one is saying no. We're saying let us do some policy work so we can figure out what a good option is.
As for Thrasher, he's hoping for financial assistance like an emergency relief fund. He also wants more transparency for displaced families like his own.
That's our home, and we're going to come back, and you're all going to answer to all of us.
Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
And for a bit more on the fire and evacuation situation, Leanne Sanders spoke with our very own Cullen Crozier, the producer of APTN Investigates. He and his family are safe in Grand Prairie, Alberta.
Hi, Cullen. Thanks for joining us tonight. Can you describe the evacuation from Yellowknife? Have fires ever threatened before?
Yeah, so as it stands right now, the evacuation order came down Wednesday evening. So 4 or 5 days ago. In that time, from what I hear, about 95% of the population of Yellowknife have evacuated. There's about 22,000 people for the population there. I think there's around anywhere from 1,000 to maybe 1,500 essential workers still in the city. Firefighters, military personnel, RCMP, healthcare workers, stuff like that. Community members who are actively, doing what they can to, help with the brakes and sprinkler systems and these preventative measures. From what I understand, the fire, the closest one is about 15 kilometers outside of the city. I think there's about 4 fires that they're actively fighting, so we're kind of surrounded kind of on all fronts there, the city. But the biggest one is about 15 kilometers outside of the city. They don't expect it to reach the outskirts of the city until Wednesday. There's basically been rain the last few days, limited amount. The winds shifted in the favor of the city. And basically all of the work that they've been doing to actively fight the fire has helped a lot. Has anything like this happened before? Every year, throughout the north, just because of where we live, there's forest fires. It happens every year. It'll get really smoky in Yellowknife during this season, basically. But never has the fire got this close to the city. Never has Yellowknife had to be evacuated 22,000 people. So it's the first time in history it's happened.
Wow. How much notice were you and your family given?
Well, the evacuation, there was the official order came down Wednesday evening at around 7:30, 8 p.m. Before that, we were on an evacuation alert. So, people were getting the sense in the days leading up to the actual order that this was going to happen. I think a lot of us, we'd hoped for the best. We hoped it wouldn't happen, but people were actively getting prepared. But when the order came down, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, it seemed to happen relatively quick. And basically my family and a little crew I was rolling with, we packed our bags and hit the highway at 11:30 p.m. that Wednesday. And it was just wall-to-wall traffic. So, everybody, it was just a massive evacuation exodus from Yellowknife. So I don't know. I don't know how, if I'd say that was handled well, where it just seemed like everybody just, got out of Dodge at the same time. And what you had was just a massive traffic jam in the only road leaving the city. After that, I think it kind of thinned out a little bit. And, obviously they had planes come in, evacuating people to Edmonton, Calgary. I think they're even evacuating some of the population to Winnipeg actually now as well. So yeah, that's basically that.
Where are you now, Cullen, and can you describe the scene for us there?
Yeah, well, my family, we drove to Grand Prairie, Alberta. It was about 11, 12-hour drive from Yellowknife. I haven't really seen, we haven't hit up the evacuation center here yet. It's just kind of been about getting my family kind of settled where we are. So we haven't hit the evacuation center. I'm not really sure how many people from Yellowknife came to Grand Prairie specifically. I think a lot went to Edmonton, Calgary, the larger kind of urban centers. Yeah, so I'm not too sure exactly. I haven't seen anybody else from the north here yet, but they are here.
So how are you and your family coping with this disruption in your lives?
As best we can. We have a few younger children with us, and it's just kind of finding stuff for them to do during the day. Obviously, trying to work remotely as well from the road has its challenges. We're doing it as best we can. We kind of lucked out with, family members, support systems that we had set in place here. And I think you'll find like a lot of the evacuees, the ones that could anyway, that's what they did. They leaned on, family and loved ones and friends. And, the outpouring of support there has been overwhelming, and people opening up their homes. And that's, that's what happened with us. We were lucky enough to have a house to go to here, family's house. So yeah, we're, just taking it day by day.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for joining us, Cullen, and take care.
Thank you.
The CFL's Edmonton Elks are reaching out to people from the Northwest Territories who have been evacuated due to wildfires. They are offering free seats to this Sunday's game against the Ottawa Red Blacks for anyone from the Northwest Territories displaced because of the fires. The team is looking to break a 22-game home losing streak, the longest in professional sports history. The free tickets are available now and at the box office on game day with an evacuation wristband or an NWT driver's license.
That's what it's intended to be, is a distraction from the worry and the point of it, which is you're not in your home and you don't know really what the situation might be like when you do get back. And so if you're here, any and all forms of distraction and or enjoyment, I would think would be welcome, and we hope that, we've had a pretty good response to this, so we hope that it's working, and I hope that people will come and that the weather will be great, and for a few hours anyway, take a little bit of the pressure off.
Smith Cree Nation gathered to give thanks almost a year after a mass stabbing shook the Saskatchewan First Nation. Brent McGilvery brings us this story.
There's still a lot of hurt, a lot of pain yet. That will go on for a long time. But we need things like this happening, getting together. It will slowly take the pain away from us.
After almost a year since tragedy hit James Smith Cree Nation, the whole community, including families of the 12 people killed in a mass stabbing, came out to celebrate their culture and heal. Elders and knowledge keepers want to pass on what they know to move forward in the community's journey towards healing.
Today we need a lot of healing. Getting together like this is a lot of thankfulness. Creator wants us to heal. Creator needs, especially our language, in prayers.
We have a lot of work to do in regards to healing and moving forward in a good way, in a healthy way. And these ceremonies and these gatherings that we have here are going to help those families to reach out and get some of that support they need in order to start living healthy again and start feeling the love and the joy of this world, because for the last year it's been very hard for everyone to smile because of what happened.
They're hurting on their own and they are trying to reach out. It'll take some time for them to adapt to that tragedy, and the ones that were also hurt outside the extended families, those are the ones too that, there's a lot of stories, horrific stories out there, and yet there's a lot of resilience out there that they're balancing themselves to move forward.
There's healers here. This is what even our young people need to learn, how to talk and bring out what they still have in them that they don't want to let go. As you see, letting go of what's hurting you can bring you back. Without pain, without hurt, you will change.
On September 4th last year, the nation was gripped by a spree that left 12 people, including Miles and Damien Sanderson, dead. James Smith Cree Nation leadership has visited numerous First Nations that have their own self-administered policing with a goal to implement their own. In the last few months, 28 members from James Smith have stepped up and have been trained in helping keep the community safe.
We had visited numerous First Nations that do have their First Nations policing, but it's just waiting there at the federal government in regards to approval. And I think sitting on the National Board of Policing, I think, me moving the whole initiative forward in regards to the whole transformation of self-administered policing. So that's one of the key elements here with our goal is to have our own policing. So I think dealing with that, it's the next step forward.
Brent McGillivray, APTN National News, James Smith Cree Nation.
Minigozebee Anishinaabe, historically known as the Pine Creek First Nation in Manitoba, has released the results of an excavation in the basement of a Catholic church. The excavation was initiated earlier this summer after ground-penetrating radar had twice detected 14 reflections underneath the church. On the weekend, Chief Derek Nepenak announced via social media that a search found no conclusive evidence of human remains. Nepenak says he knows the work will feed into a denialist narrative, but says the work there should be compared to other searches taking place around other residential schools in Canada.
We know from the living memory of our elders who attended the school, as well as the living memory of those who have been passed the stories of their ancestors' experiences in the school, that horrible things happened there. Resultantly, it was appropriate for us to prepare for the worst possible results of an excavation under the church. The results of the excavation take nothing away from the difficult truths experienced by our families who attended the residential school in Pine Creek.
All right, we need to take a quick break. We'll have more news when we come back. Welcome Welcome back to APTN National News Weekend. Nunavut plugged into Canada's wider research infrastructure this week as Nunavut Arctic College joined the National Research and Education Network. Trevor Wright highlights why this was very much needed.
Nunavut's only community college is about to get an upgrade as they join the National Research and Education Network's rural orbiting network, bringing higher internet speeds to its facilities and residencies. The first community the network connected to was Iqaluit, where a ribbon-cutting ceremony was held to celebrate its rollout. The next Nunavut Arctic College facilities expected to receive high-speed internet will be Clyde River, Rankin Inlet, Arviat, and Cambridge Bay. This is expected to expand to all communities over the next year.
And in the next year, we're looking to expand this to all our other community learning centers.
The government of Nunavut welcomed this as good news, saying it will help bridge gaps with its southern Canada counterparts.
Expanding online learning opportunities will help to reduce the digital divide experienced by remote communities and ensure more equitable access to education.
The need for more reliable internet was there even before the pandemic, says Mearns.
But for the community, in the past number of years, we've received a number of questions about the reliability of the networks within our community learning centers.
Older internet satellites often orbit over the equator, giving slower northern connectivity. This will be different, according to the president of Galaxy Broadband, with whom the college has partnered up with.
In a few years, you're going to have more bandwidth than you can even imagine, because a lot of these satellites go over top of the North Pole. So we see a huge opportunity for Nunavut.
Trevor Wright, APTN National News, Iqaluit.
Quebec's highest court has authorized a class action suit that is being led by two plaintiffs from the Atikamekw First Nation in Quebec. The two plaintiffs say that they both gave birth 5 times, then were allegedly given tubal ligations without consultation or consent. It is not known yet how many Atikamekw First Nations women have allegedly been sterilized in the Quebec healthcare system, but a university study done with statistics starting from the 1980s estimates 22 known cases of possible non-consensual sterilization of First Nations and Inuit women. The allegations in the class action have not yet been proven in court. All right, it's time to step aside briefly one final time here. A look at some of Zach Whitecloud's day with the Stanley Cup is coming up. Welcome back to APTN National News Weekend. The largest medical class in the history of the University of Manitoba has received their white coats and took the physician's pledge on Wednesday.
I will respect the secrets that are confided in me, even after the patient has died.
The class of 2027 has 125 students. 10 of those are Indigenous, including 23-year-old Kiana Tate from Norway House Cree Nation in northern Manitoba. Her goal is to move back to Norway House and work as a family doctor at a new hospital set to open this fall. She says there's a need for Indigenous physicians in northern communities, and she wants to be an advocate for Indigenous patients who are often mistreated in the healthcare system.
There's a lot of intergenerational trauma and addiction and poverty, and not everyone has someone to look up to, which is why being a role model and entering medicine, especially someone from the north, is really special to me, and I'm very honored that I get to be here and that I got my white coat today.
Wednesday was a special day for the Sioux Valley Dakota Nation in Manitoba. Zach Whitecloud had his day with the Stanley Cup and brought it home to share with his community. Cheers, laughter, and of course the Stanley Cup were on full display as Vegas Golden Knights defenseman Zach Whitecloud brought the Stanley Cup home. Hundreds gathered at the Sioux Valley Dakota Nation Powwow Arbor to see the cup in person and show their support for White Cloud.
Congratulations! You did so good on the game.
We're very proud to be from Sioux Valley.
Perfect.
They put us on the map.
It's so neat to hear every once in a while on NHL. You hear Sioux Valley Dakota Nation, right? It was just loud. And I love that.
The day had plenty of celebration, including speeches, photos, traditional dances, and an appearance from the king of rock and roll.
What you have done, well, you made me love you, now you're loving man is gone.
One common theme among those in attendance was the sense of pride within the community.
Definitely a great sense of community pride, and it's been there always in supporting him when he first started playing with the Vegas Golden Knights. But I think it's a lot more now than from the Stanley Cup, and we're hosting the watch parties and all the excitement leading up to today. There's been so much community pride in bringing together the community in such a good way.
Unity. We've never had unity in such a long time. He doesn't even know what his gift is to us. You know, he thinks bringing back the Stanley Cup is more than that. It's the unity and all the young people. There's lots of young parents here just enjoying the day, and they don't even care about the weather.
Much like who he is on the ice, White Cloud's speech to those in attendance was simple yet effective.
Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to come and celebrate. A dream of mine since I was a little kid. So everyone travel safe, be well, and again, travel safe home when you head that direction.
Chief Bone said having a role model like White Cloud is nothing but positive for the youth.
Definitely an inspiration to the younger kids to be able to see, an Indigenous role model playing in NHL and also winning the Stanley Cup, and being able to bring that to a First Nation community is definitely such a great accomplishment. And the younger people look up to him as a role model, and I think it inspires them to do better and to excel in their sports and education, and to live that good life, and that anything is possible and their dreams come true.
I love seeing all the smiles on everyone's faces there, and Zach did go to a 7-Eleven and filled a cup with a Slurpee as well afterwards, which was also great to see. And with that, that is going to do it for this last weekend edition show of August. As always, our website, aptnnews.ca, has plenty more Indigenous news for you. For all of us here, thank you so much for joining us. Miigwech and Askmith, have a great weekend and enjoy some more viz of the Stanley Cup.
What's about ready?